All right. So as I said earlier, you guys, there's no way I'm going to be able to film in this absolute tsunami coming behind me as the Pacific Ocean basically falls out of the sky right behind me and closing in on me. and yeah, there's absolutely no way I can carry on reading emails right now outside. It's just not going to happen. And I have to leave tomorrow for I think a week. And you know what it's like when I get those emails right on the boat. The audio sucks because I use a handheld camera and the audio built in the camera because the boat's such a small space, and I have the Canon with the zoom lens on it. I forgot the shorter lens last time I was out in the boat, and it wasn't really working out too cool for the audio. And I can't stand the cordless microphones. I've got them, so you all know. I just can't stand them. Listen to this wall of water coming. All hell's coming. I gotta go. So I hope you enjoy the audio version of these emails, and again, I'll throw up some backdrop for you guys to watch while I read them out loud. All right? It's too bad because it's kind of cool actually being out in the rain. I don't mind the rain myself at all. It doesn't bug me at the slightest, but the equipment doesn't like it at all. And the noise on the audio picks up from the waterfall, and especially hitting these leaves is just too much. Better get out of here before lightning strikes me, takes me down.
It's raining. River's starting to go down the road. It's only been raining. This road was bone dry. You know what, half an hour ago. It started really pouring about 10 minutes ago. Look at that. Typical classic West Coast coastal mountain weather. The ocean comes in, creeps up to the sky, and falls on the ground. Alright, here we go, you guys. Here's one more. Last one for a week, unless I pull one off my iPhone when I'm away. But here we go. Listen to this. Hey Steve, I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'm a logger from Western Oregon, 26 years old now. I've been in the woods since the day I was born, hunting, fishing, mushroom hunting, and everything in between. Been logging since practically the day I got out of high school. As well, to be short, I know the woods and everything out there. Now, I've always wanted to be a believer, and I wouldn't call this a sighting by any means, but it was enough for me. One day, mid-fall, I decided to walk down to a remote draw to look for chanterelles, hedgehogs, and maybe a shedhorn or two. About a mile in, I was in the bottom of the draw, keeping my eyes on the ground for mushrooms, of course. There was a big swampy spring in the bottom, and out of the corner of my eye, I noticed 3 tracks in the mud. As I walked over to check them out, I noticed there were huge human tracks. I know what a bear stepping in his own tracks looks like, but this was no bear. These were huge. To put it into perspective, I wear a size 14 wide shoe, and they dwarfed my Romeos by at least 4 inches. They were fresh enough the moss was still pressed down and not full of water yet. Needless to say, every hair on my body stood straight up and automatically started to feel like something was right there watching me. I wish I still had the pictures, but I had them on a phone, and I ended up losing that phone at work, so no pictures anymore. But I can't say I've never felt so uneasy, and nothing in the woods really makes me uneasy. I couldn't tell you how long it took me to get out of that draw, but it felt like forever. Almost like I walked backwards with my 9mm pistol all the way up the draw, so whatever it was couldn't come up behind me. One of the craziest experiences of my life, and I won't soon forget the feeling. Wish now I would have seen the thing, but the tracks right in front of my own face in the mud, in the middle of nowhere, in the bottom of a deep, dark timber hole was enough for me. Anyway, if you get around to this one and feel it's worthy, go ahead and share. Thanks, Steve. Matt Clark. Hey, Matt, thanks a lot for your email, man. And I'm sure you know you're not alone when it comes to seeing those tracks. And once you do see those tracks, it's pretty hard to deny, right? And that's funny. That reminds me of years ago. I met some people while I was guiding, and they invited me down to the States to the huge ranch. And I was definitely on adventure mode back then. And I stayed on the ranch and helped them out for spring calving season. And I think it was Easter or something. And the owner's nephew came to visit with his family. And this guy was probably, I don't know, he's probably mid-20s. Just your typical all-around dude. 6'3" dude. Quarterback, pitcher, baseball. Big guy, big confident guy. And I'll never forget this big A-type confident dude takes me aside, and he was definitely not comfortable speaking, and he's kind of stumbling a bit, and he's like, "Hey, Steve, you're from British Columbia, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, y'all ever hear about or believe in those Bigfoot things?" And I just looked at him, matter of fact, like, "Well, yeah, unfortunately, I've seen one of them, and yeah, they're very real." And as soon as I said that, the look of relief on his face when he went, "Oh man, thank God, I got to tell you something." And he went on to tell me about a time he was hunting with his brothers and dad and uncle in Colorado, and it was pouring rain, and I think they were bow hunting. And he left camp, and he told me that he left camp, went downhill, down the mountain, pouring rain, and came across some massive barefoot footprints with a 6-7 foot stride in the mud, and they're still filling up with water. And he said it absolutely scared the living shit out of him. And he turned around, booked it all the way back to camp, told his family members, and they all laughed at him, but he said none of them would go down there with him to go check out the prints. But it's funny, I'll never ever forget that guy. The relief that he expressed when I assured him that I knew these things existed and I'd seen one. I'll never forget that relief on that guy. And I actually felt sorry for him because he'd obviously been packing this around, and he's terrified. Well, I shouldn't say he's terrified, but he's scared to share what he saw with people because he doesn't want to be ridiculed or laughed at. And that kind of sucks ass. But thankfully, this group of people here, especially on my channel, combined with Scott's and Dave's, we basically outnumber everybody now. And this is a safe place, and everybody's got each other's back. So if you are one of these people as well who've had one of these experiences, and you're having a tough time sharing it, finding somebody with an ear, you can email it here to tellmystory@howtohunt.com or share my story at howtohunt.com, and we'll eventually get to it and we'll share it for you. And there you go. And there's another one.